Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 11.17 goes live on June 17th and it introduces a whole bunch of new content to keep us busy until the next major patch comes our way. We have a new type of delve with a huge gear upgrade for pretty much every kind of player. We have a lot of returning events like the Turbulent Timeways. Timewalking Dungeons are being slowed down significantly. The combat assistant feature could change how the game plays for the foreseeable future, and there are new ways to experience key story points from the past as well as new story content to work through. So let's go through everything coming in patch 11.1.7. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video. One of the most important updates coming through with patch 11.1.7 is the addition of Overcharged Delves. 6 delves can be overcharged and you'll find new special monsters, rares, dangerous traps and a bunch of new rewards in these powered up delves. You can easily check on your map which delves are overcharged thanks to the new icon, and overcharged delves don't revert to a normal delve when you've cleared them like bountiful delves do, so you should be able to run an overcharged delve as many times as you want, which is always nice to know. Now pretty much everyone is going to want to take part in Overcharged Delves thanks to their main reward, the new belt item. It starts at item level 684 and can be upgraded all the way to item level 700, so it's going to be a huge upgrade for a lot of players and should carry over into a good chunk of Season 3. It's basically our new Circe's Circlet ring, and if you played a lot through Season 2 you should know just how powerful that ring ended up being. Some classes and specs still don't replace it, so this new belt is probably going to be very powerful indeed. And just like the Circe's Circlet, if the belt isn't too powerful on release, I imagine it'll just get buffed until absolutely everybody is wearing it, which is exactly what happened with the Circe's Circlet and its gems. Now something else that is very similar to the Circe's Circlet ring is that we're going to have a bunch of different powers and effects to collect and use on our belt. The first one is obtained along with the belt itself, but you'll need to do a bit of legwork to pick up the others. Most of them will come from clearing specific delves. We've got single target damage procs, AoE damage procs, defensive and shield based procs, effects that increase your stats, and there are a few healing options thrown in for good measure as well. What's really cool about these powers is that they are all warband wide, so as soon as you unlock a power on one character, all of your other characters will automatically have access to it as well, so you should only have to gather up each power or effect once. We'll also have a new talent or trait tree to progress through relating to the Overcharged Delves. The Titan-themed monsters in Overcharged Delves will drop a new item or currency that you can use to unlock these new talent points, which will make completing Overcharged Delves just easier and faster the more you progress. You can even turn the pesky traps into huge boons that let you zoom through the delves, so if you play a lot of delves and that's really your kind of content, this is going to give you another progression option to unlock and tinker around with. Taking part in Overcharged Delves can earn you other rewards as well, including more delve currency to spend on other cosmetics, new gear options, and the OC91 chariot mount, which is a very cool recolor of the Mythic Plus mount that we got from Season 1 and the related achievements there. Patch 11.1.7 will also include the return of the Turbulent Timeways event. This will give us back-to-back Timewalking weekly events for 6 weeks total, and the Battle for Azeroth expansion is being thrown into the mix as well. So we'll be revisiting some favourite BFA dungeons, and there's a new Timewalking vendor with BFA themed goodies to pick up. Taking part in the Turbulent Timeways event will reward you with the Chrono Corsair mount, so we can finally pick up the Pirate Infinite Dragon model as a mount, which is very exciting, and then the 6 weeks of Timewalking loot boxes will be a great chance to get your alts some very easy heroic raid gear. Now, I would usually also say that Turbulent Timeways is a good time to level up your alts, but there are some pretty significant changes coming for Timewalking Dungeons themselves as part of patch 11.1.7. So we're going to get BFA Timewalking and the Turbulent Timeways event, but the dev team are also slowing down the overall experience of Timewalking Dungeons as a whole. All enemy health is going to be increased, all boss health will be significantly increased, difficulty scaling has been adjusted to make sure lower geared players don't get one-shot, but geared players will actually take more damage. Enchants, gems and other power sources will also contribute to the monster scaling, so you won't be able to one-shot everything with a level 11 twink anymore. In a nutshell, they're making Timewalking Dungeons harder and slower. They are changing the rewards to compensate for that extra effort and time investment though. Gear rewards will be bumped up to Adventurer instead of Explorer, and Timewalking Dungeons will reward 25 badges up from 10. The badge reward increase kinda says they expect Timewalking Dungeons to take at least twice as long when compared to before, if not a bit longer. Now, the main argument being presented for these changes is that the extended combat times will help players work through their rotation and learn their class and spec better when leveling up through Timewalking Dungeons. This could be an attempt to let players get more out of the rotation assistant feature that is also coming in this patch. More about that in just a moment, but the general idea seems to be that Timewalking Dungeons were just a bit too fast for players to actually use their abilities properly, so they're slowing everything down. I'm really interested to see what happens with these changes in play, because the dev team have tried to slow down Timewalking Dungeons several times before, and it never really seems to end well. Players just seem to stop doing Timewalking Dungeons because they end up being a slog to get through, and they're just not worth the rewards. I think they would have to be far more rewarding than they currently are, even with the Adventurer gear upgrade, which is almost entirely useless. But no matter how you feel about the Timewalking changes, we are going to have a good chunk of time to test the waters during the Turbulent Timeways event, so be sure you leave your feedback for the dev team on the forums if you feel super strongly one way or the other after you've experienced the updates in-game. Now, one of the big updates coming through with this patch is the addition of the Combat Rotation Assistant. This is a new feature that, when enabled, will highlight the spell that you should cast next in an optimal rotation. It takes your talents into account and even how many monsters you are currently facing, so it will swap between single target and AoE rotations quite fluidly. So you can use this feature to learn your rotation a bit better without having to dive into class guides or wowhead pages, or if you just want to focus on other things in specific encounters or content types. It's not going to be as good as manually learning your rotation and having the muscle memory developed, but it's probably going to be a lot better than trying to piece together a rotation by yourself without doing any actual research. Another option that you're going to have is the ability to perform this suggested rotation with a single keybind or button. You'll find the single button assistant at the top right of your spellbook, and you can just drag that down and use it as a normal spell. Using this spell will rotate through your suggested rotation, basically performing that base rotation for you with a single keybind. There is a GCD penalty attached to this button, so you will have more downtime in between each spell or ability, which will make your overall throughput significantly lower when compared to manually following the assistant, but this will be great for anyone with accessibility issues, or for anyone who wants to play casual or easy content on a Steam Deck, or when using a controller. I think this is going to be great for lazy transmog farming runs or things like that, but if you're going to want to push high levels of content and parse in raids, you'll still have to learn your rotation the good old-fashioned way. Something else that will change up combat quite significantly is the addition of a brand new spell that everyone has access to called Recuperate. Every class and spec will have this spell. You'll be able to find it under your general spell tab, and it's really quite simple. It's an out of combat heal with practically no cooldown. You can use this spell in any instance when you would have sat down to eat some food to regenerate your health previously, so in between pulls of dungeons or delves, or even things like horrific visions, or maybe when you're getting ready for a raid boss after a wipe. Any instance where you want to make sure you're on full health and you're not currently in combat, you'll now be able to use Recuperate. It doesn't seem to restore any mana, so casters and healers will still need to carry around some drinks, which also means Recuperate doesn't completely replace the need for food, but for anyone who doesn't need mana, this will be a great quality of life addition. Patch 11.17 also introduces a brand new way to experience story content. The new lore walking feature lets you revisit key story points from the past, and it packages the relevant storylines and quests from multiple expansions into one nice little neat package. It's like a recap of the most important plot points for specific characters. The three stories that we start with are for Xalatath, the Ethereals, and Arthas. So each lore walking chapter takes you through why these NPCs or races are important and how they got to where they are. There are also some new story elements revealed in these lore-walking chapters, which is even more exciting, and both Xalatath and the Ethereals will be key figures in patch 11.2 and probably in the next WoW expansion. You can also pick up some interesting toys for working through each chapter, so if you love to collect those kinds of rewards, this should be right up your alley as well. This feature also has amazing potential for the future. Whenever a new story point comes up, the dev team can use the lore-walking feature to catch newer players up quickly and give refreshers and reminders for relevant events that happened over the last 20 years of the game. Now, while we're on the topic of story content, we'll also have some new main story questlines to follow. While we've been overthrowing corrupt goblin establishments in Undermine, troubles have been brewing in the Arathi Highlands. Settlements are being attacked, the Horde and the Alliance are at each other's throats, and a mysterious new faction is emerging from the shadows. We'll get to explore what's behind the attacks and who this new threat could be. What's really interesting about these story chapters is that the Horde and Alliance seem to get different perspectives, so they follow the same overarching storyline, but there will be branching viewpoints throughout the chapters. So to get both sides of the story, you'll need to play through it on both factions, I guess. Each faction also gets a special tabard reward, so that's another reason to work through the story from each viewpoint. And then there are a few other events that will start up a little bit later on July 1st, so 2 weeks after the patch goes live. That's when we'll get the Greedy Emissary event, where treasure goblins will invade our world once again. They'll pop up in Dornogal, Orgrimmar and Stormwind on fixed timers, and then there will also be a chance for them to pop up in Undermine. Killing these treasure goblins can yield all manner of cosmetic rewards. There are a few mounts you can pick up, and we'll be collecting a new currency that we can spend to unlock new recolors of the updated Tier 2 class armor sets. We'll also get a special new event that we haven't seen before called the Collector's Bounty. While this event is active, all legacy content will be more rewarding, which should make this a great opportunity to fill up your transmog collection, and it may even help you pick up some special mounts a bit easier. So there is a bit of a spread out content schedule with this patch, just like there was with patch 11.15, but at least this time most of the content will be available right away on patch day. Now, with patch 11.17 releasing on June 17th, the Dastardly Duos event will still be running, so you'll have that content to work through at the same time, and the Horrific Visions should remain available to play until the end of Season 2 at the very least, so we're going to have a lot of content options for the rest of Season 2. Now, it is important to note that there don't seem to be any significant class changes or really any balance tuning changes in patch 11.17. This could be due to the rotation assistant and not wanting to change anything too much so that it doesn't have to be updated right away, or they could be saving up those larger changes for patch 11.2, which we should get some more information about just before or right after 11.17 goes live, which is really exciting. But that's everything coming in patch 11.17, so that's it for this video. What are you most looking forward to in this new patch, and where do you think we're headed for patch 11.2 and the next big chapter of World of Warcraft? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see the names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links in the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.